through the glass walls of the PGT 2025 audition location, which was a modern convention center bustling with drones filming every angle for the show's broadcast. The Manila skyline sparkled like a glittering jewel. In the backstage area, Sofronio Vasquez, who was 26 years old, stood with his breath short and his fingers tracing the edge of a worn guitar pick that was in his pocket. The atmosphere was electrifying with the buzz of anticipation. Participants were whispering to one another, crew members were yelling commands, and the distant clamor of a crowd was excited for the return of Pilipinas Got Talent after a gap caused by the epidemic. When it came to Sofronio, this was more than simply an audition. It was a step toward a goal that he had been cultivating since he was a child. Growing up in a close-knit barrio in Davao, Sofronio was constantly exposed to music throughout his childhood. In the background, his older brother played a beat-up guitar and blasted out old country music classics, while his grandmother's Kundaman albums were spinning on a turntable that creaked. The soulful baritone with a velvety edge that Sofronio possessed was his ticket out of the ordinary when it came to his voice. A standing ovation was given to him when he performed Pangarap Ko Ang Ibigin Ka at a school talent show when he was only 10 years old. Nevertheless, life had other plans for him. He was unable to attend college due to financial constraints, and by the year 2025, he was working as a delivery rider and a wedding singer on the side in order to assist his family in weathering the effects of inflation and growing expenditures. A late-night TikTok binge was the impetus for me to submit my application for the PGT 2025 audition. He was sparked into action by a video clip that went viral, which featured the show's comeback announcement and promised a new era of Filipino talent. He was motivated to take action by his sister, Clara. "You have a voice that is extraordinary, Sof." While she was filming his audition video, which was a raw acoustic interpretation of Hanging by Wency Cornejo, she gave him the advice, "Don't let it stay in Davao video bars." He was able to secure a spot in Manila thanks to the footage that he took on a borrowed smartphone. "This is it," his mother murmured to him as he boarded the bus, placing a rosary into his hand. "This is it," she said. Behind the scenes, Sofronio experienced the gravity of the situation. There was a kaleidoscope of talent surrounding him, including a contortionist who was twisting in an impossible way, a rapper who was spewing bars, and a child who was juggling lead koi. In addition to sneakers that were worn from months of deliveries, he wore a clean barong that he had borrowed from his cousin. "This is the Moment," which was a song from Jekyll and Hyde, was a gamble because it was an anthem from Broadway that was rarely heard on Filipino stages. Even though he had practiced in parking lots that were vacant, with his voice soaring against the sound of motorcycles, nothing could have adequately prepared him for the judges, which included Sarah Geronimo, Bamboo, Vice Ganda, and Lisa Longa, the latter of whom was a global legend whose presence caused his knees to shake. "Sofronio Vasquez, please." He was startled by the call from the stage manager. From the moment he stepped into the spotlight, the stage was transformed into a technological marvel, with holographic effects flowing around him. There was a roar from the audience, which consisted of both live attendees and virtual spectators via the PGT app. In spite of his beating heart, Sofronio maintained a calm voice while he held the microphone. "I am awestruck before you. Hello, my name is Sofronio, and I come from Davao. I am here to sing my truth." His grin wavered, but he managed to catch Clara in the front row, and her thumbs up helped him to regain his composure. The orchestra began to grow, and Sofronio began to sing. The song's soaring crescendos were effortlessly climbed by his voice, which was a revelation on account of its rawness and emotional depth. Each message contained his story, which included his late-night deliveries of food, stories about his father's medical costs, and his aspiration to provide a better life for his family. "This is the moment, this is the day," the audience yelled as they stood on their feet, holding their phones high in the air, recording the grandeur of the moment. The moment he struck the final note, a crystal clear high C, the place erupted in a commotion. Emojis of hearts, the words "Galing" and "Next Regin" were among the virtual emotions that inundated the webcast. The first person to speak was Sarah Geronimo, whose voice was husky with passion. "Sofronio, you did more than just sing. You went on to tell a story. I am so grateful for my puso." Bamboo sat back and smiled as she did so. "Bro, that was serious business on a global scale. There is a soul in you." Vice, who knew how to make a statement, climbed onto the table. "It's a great moment, isn't it? I'm completely taken aback." The glance that Lee Salonga had was penetrating. "Your method could use some improvement. But what about your passion? Invulnerable to attack. Stay the course." Yes, 4 times over. His journey was over. In the backstage area, Sofronio collapsed into Clara's arms and began crying. 8, we completed the task, he murmured. A total of 10 million views were accumulated on TikTok in a single night after the event became viral. Unknown individuals tagged him in alterations and referred to him as the Davao Dreamer. However, the euphoria was accompanied by pressure. The subsequent round indicated that the competition would be more difficult, and the PGT in 2025 was no joke. It featured AI-enhanced acts, global live streams, and a public vote system that benefited knowledge of social media. Sofronio, who had 200 followers on Instagram, felt as though he was completely out of his league. Looking back on the audition, Sofronio describes it as a defining moment in his life. He freely acknowledges, "I was really scared. Nevertheless, as I stood there, I became aware that I wasn't simply singing for myself. For the sake of my family, my barangay, and every Filipino who is pursuing their dreams." He was compelled to confront his insecurities as a result of the event. At all times, he had the sensation of being less educated, less connected, and less polished. He was shown by PGT that his voice was sufficient. The audition caused a change in my life. It was a flurry of local gigs, from stages at fiestas to openings at shopping malls. In order to take Lee's recommendation to heart, he put money aside for vocal lessons. Despite the fact that Sofronio is hesitant, a producer has offered to record a song for him. The music industry in 2025 is extremely competitive, with streaming algorithms giving preference to well-known artists. Even so, he is completely committed to the upcoming round of the proms, and he has hinted at a surprise song selection that shows a new side of me. Sofronio says, "PGT 2025 was my wake-up call, and his eyes shine with excitement. It's not about winning, it's about turning up," the speaker said. "A delivery boy is no longer the only job I have. I am a singer, and I am prepared for whatever the future holds for me." The fact that Sofronio Vasquez's voice can be heard all throughout the Philippines has made him no longer a secret treasure. One moment at a time, he is going to become a shining star.